what they've been able to do here.
Yeah. No, it's good stuff, dude. It's good stuff. I didn't know anything about it, so I'm glad we went through it.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting. I mean, I think it's a good time just to jump into open editions in general.
Yep.
Kate, I know you're quite big on the art side. Why don't you start, my bro? What is your feeling on open editions in general? And you know what? Obviously, we're seeing these take off a lot. What are your thoughts on it?
I think it's pretty short-sighted. I think for most people, this is not helpful to them. I think for a very, very small number of people, this is helpful. I think for most of the this is very much like when music NFTs pops. Like only a very certain small select group of people were going to make money from it, and it wasn't the people that were advertised. In the same way, people are. It's almost all right. Here's a decent way to explain it and use like an alternative way. There was a podcast I saw of this girl who had been very successful in like the adult industry online, and so someone asked her opinion on OnlyFans, and she was like, I'm not a big fan of it. And they were like, what are you talking about? Like, why not? And she was like, because all these young girls are gonna, participate in OnlyFans. They're gonna get all these pictures and stuff on the internet, and they're only gonna make $200 because they think that they're gonna make $6 million a month like everyone else did, when that's only 0.1% of people. And in reality, what's going to happen is that they're going to be, essentially devalued online. It's kind of the same thought process there with open editions for me. I'm like, people think that open editions is going to be what sells out their art this time, versus like 3 months ago it was something else, and now they're going to try this. Then they're going to have 15,000 NFTs on their own artwork minted that are now useless and worthless because you never had utility. There was never reason for people to buy your NFTs, and now you have too many of them, and now it's too late because they're on the blockchain. They're minted. There's no going back anymore. And so I think for a lot of people, they're going to blow this opportunity. And then for people who already have a following, who just kind of want to drop a project and be able to sort of hide behind the slew of being able to say, oh, this is just an art thing. It's just an open edition. Casually, they go and cash out $3 million, though. So
And as a holder, Kate, so you talking from the artist perspective, as someone wanting to buy or mint them, some of them are very, very cheap to mint. What is your feeling from a collector perspective, from a user perspective, not from an artist perspective?
bro, this is even more degen than before. This is straight up slot machines. Like this is funny, because it's like literally opposite of what everyone wanted. For me specifically, as a collector and an artist, I don't like open editions, but that's a personal thing. I just don't care for them. I think it's much better to have exclusivity. I like the idea of exclusivity for what I'm trying to do. For other people, they think they can handle an open edition with 25,000 holders. Good luck.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I see over here, Crypto Dream. I'm so happy you're here. Thanks for joining us. Saying here, are they unlimited or set amount of time? So I think that's a great question. Let's talk about open editions. Like, let's just define what they are, right, to begin with. So an open edition is basically an NFT that typically is open for a set amount of time. Okay. So you can mint, usually it's 24, 48, 72 hours. And the word open basically means that typically there isn't a set amount of them, which means that as many people who want to mint within that time period are able to mint. Now, if the demand is that a million people, hypothetically, which it isn't, there are barely a million people in the
Could
NFT
be
space,
could be for a very
it
small
could
period
be
of
one
time.
day. If the demand is a million people, the collection will end up being a million
Yeah.
big. If only 10,000 people mint after that amount of time that they predefine up front runs out, then that is the collection size. So
But what about the
from
bots, bro?
that perspective, I really do like it, from a demand to supply perspective. I like the fact that the market, depending on the demand, will make this collection size. And typically, what it is it's art projects that are artists, hopefully notable artists, release their NFT, and it allows them to get their artwork into more people's hands. Now, I think what Kate was saying is really, really important, in that unless you are a very famous artist, digital or otherwise, that unless you're one of the big names in the space, you are going to struggle. So I think the time that an open edition might be beneficial for an artist would be when it's literally unaffordable to pick up one of their normal pieces.
Yep.
So let's say they have a digital collection, the floor price is 100 Ethereum, which is about whatever, $130,000, $165,000, it might make sense to open up for an open edition. You could do it for an hour, so that you really, and you can make it very quiet, that very few people know. That might do it. But I think what Kate said from an artist perspective is really important. You've got to think long term. You are putting more of your artwork out there at a very low price point, and that can't be good for you, because as far as artists go, typically the more unique a piece of art is, and the smaller the number of pieces that an artist has, typically does determine the value of a piece of art long term. So
It
if you
depends on their
invest in
goals.
exactly,
Goals,
so,
yeah.
exactly. So if you exactly that. So if you from a buying perspective love an artist and they release an open edition and it's going to cost you $30, buy it and keep it forever, right? And from an artist perspective, that's good. It allows them to get a fan, something into the hand of a fan who wouldn't otherwise have it. However, if you're looking for something that you think is going to overnight go to 10, 20, 30, 40 Ethereum, just be aware that there could be a huge supply. And long term, this could definitely affect the artist's collectability of their work, because there's now 16,000 pieces in the Czech VV example of art out there that not just you have, that everyone has, right?
Yeah, I think people are gonna get burned here because they think they know what they want. But here's the problem: when something like this picks up so fast, and it's not something that you can just pick up and learn, like AI, for example. It's like a financially backed, you know, temporary meta that's like, you need to capitalize on this in the next week, otherwise you've missed it. And I think a lot of people are going to make the wrong decision, and they think that their art value will hold, and they think that they don't care about that, and then in 6 months they will regret it, and they can't go back because it's on there, it's on the blockchain, all these NFTs are minted. The thing is, there's always a loophole. You can always just make another collection and say, oh well, that was the open edition, that doesn't count, like this is the real collection, and people will still buy that. And I think I just think a lot of people think that the open editions are going to be worth something financially or emotionally. And I'm going to tell you this: I do not think you're right. I think you are all wrong if you think that. I have a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh cards that are worth nothing, and I do not care about them. I have a bunch of cards that are exclusive, that are in a tiny little box. There's like 30 of them. I care about those because I paid a little bit more for those. And even though I love all Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I never could care for those commons that I paid nothing for, just because I paid nothing for them and I know that they're commons. And that's the
Yeah, so
thing. People
that's
don't think like that until it's too late, and then they're like, oh well, like I don't even care. And it's like, okay, well you wasted all that time and money on it. And I was just trying to tell you that you're not thinking about the right way. And that's just, I'm trying to bring in like a full perspective on it. I just think that people are jumping in too fast, and they're not thinking about what they actually want. They just see the numbers and the money.
So again, unless I really like the artist and it was very cheap, I wouldn't be interested, because as Kate is saying, in this 16,000 supply, there's a lot of people. Usually there's a couple of variations of artwork, maybe five
Yeah.
or 10. So there's at least 1,500 people, 2,000 people that have the exact same piece of art as you,
Yeah.
which makes it a lot less valuable than like a one of one people. But this is not the first time that we've seen this. In 2020 with Nifty Gateway, this
Mm.
is what happened. And that's actually a really good use case to show you, because Beeple was one of the first people that dropped a open edition on Nifty Gateway in 2020. And it's worked really well for him, because look, he's really built up a name in his space. But that was very different. Like you said, that was the early open editions. You
He's
sort
also
of
known
almost
for
missed
it.
it.
He's also known for like
Yeah,
making a new
because
thing
he was
every
the
day.
first.
Yeah, he's cool.
Exactly.
But also, even
And
dude, even like, as okay, Beeple might literally be the one example, like the one exception. But also, if Beeple released a collection and it was unlimited mint for a week or something, and then there now is 600,000 NFTs flying around, it is going to be really cool to hold a Beeple piece for about 8 seconds until you remember that everyone else has it. And like, let me bring a real life example here. You guys ever buy an NFT, or you ever get shielded an NFT, especially from an artist, and you go to their OpenSea, you click their NFT, and you see, oh, there's 50 copies of this one. Oh, there's 75 copies of this one. It shows the NFT, and then the top right corner has a times 20 times 50, and you're like, oh, okay, I don't want this. And I think there's a huge, much bigger than people think market for one of one art, even if it's not one of one. But when you see it's like literally the exact same shit, and there's 100 of them, it immediately in your head will devalue it. And over time, it will get worse and worse and worse. And then at that time, by the time you're not into it anymore, you know, it won't even be in the news. Nobody will be talking about it. The open edition artists won't even, they'll moved on to the next thing. And I just want people to be aware that this is a temporary meta. You don't have to capitalize on it just because other people are talking about it. Just make sure you're aware. It might be good for you. I just don't think that people are thinking this through because it's so fast and people are just trying to get it done so fast.
For sure. Look, I think Crypto Dream's got an interesting point here. He says, I hear what Kate is saying for sure, but it's still a limited supply. And he's right. You know, in the end of the day, if, you know, the way that I try to look at it is, okay, what is established that we know, like sort of normal art, physical art. So the question that I'm asking myself now, and I'm asking it because of Crypto Dream's comments, is what happens if they discovered, let's just say, 16,000 pencil drawings from Picasso today that were very similar, all very, very similar or something? Those will have value because it's Picasso, right? So I think the difference there is what we said in the beginning, Crypto Dream, is unless you are already a very established artist, then I don't think it's going to have long-term value. So people, there's so many like that we know.
No, we don't. You know, we don't. Name anyone else other than people that their art could last.
People, X copy, Ferocious, guys like that who are pretty established in the space. If they continue to become more established, like Ferocious is 20 years old, if he becomes, you know, bigger and continues on the trajectory that he's currently on, then even if there's 10,000 open editions of his, that could be worth money in time. So I'm saying unless it's really an incredibly notable artist. But what we're seeing here and what Kate is trying to say is that every single artist under the sun is now seeing this as an opportunity to make money, and artists that you've never heard of are launching open editions, and they were expecting it to be valuable, and the holders who are buying it are expecting it to be valuable, and the chances are that those are never going to be valuable.
There could be a plan. There could be a plan. Like I talked to Giancarlo yesterday. By the way, shout out for you popping in there. I made sure to throw you and Tom in there because I saw you in the YouTube squad and I knew you could pull your comment up.
I know. I noticed.
Let's fucking go. Hell yeah!
I was so proud of you. Well done.
Thank you. Plus, I remember that I had left you and my friends out a couple times on other opportunities I had. So I was like, you know what? This is not going to be the time. This is the podcast. Like, I'm not going to fuck it up this time. So, but either way, he dropped a collection. You know, like how he has the unlimited mint thing that like has like a window, but that's like a gamified experience. You're like paying to like go through the drive-through almost and like.
But even those are sitting at 0.000 whatever.
They're worth nothing, and that's the thing. They're worth nothing, but I don't think that was the goal. And so for him, it's good because it was just for the experience to just do it. But there's no value that you're trying to get out of the actual product at the very end. It literally is like going through a drive-through just so you can experience what it's like. And that's a little bit better because the goal was not to have a floor price. It was just to have a gamified minting experience and have a massive collection or whatever it is. And for that kind of thing, I'm like, that's down. And like, if as long as your goal is not to have a high floor and not to have a high value asset at the end of the day, then that's good. And if everyone knew that going in, then that's also cool.
100%. So it's interesting. I did want us to discuss open editions because they definitely are the meta at the moment. And it's something that, you know, if you're in the space, you're wondering what it is. And I think we've covered it quite nicely. We've covered it from the artist perspective. We've covered it from the holder perspective. And yeah, definitely interesting. There's one later tonight in 1.5 hours by the Killer Bears artist.
Oh my God, bro.
So that could Killer Bears is sitting at a 3.5 ETH floor. And the mint price on this open edition is 0.02. So you know, I'll definitely be looking at it. For anyone watching, you would just go to Killer Bears Twitter, which is at Killer Bears, which is KILLA. Make sure that it's got the blue check mark. Don't click on any links on an account like Killer with the ER or whatever, and just watch it. But that's happening in about 1.5 hours. So that's going to be interesting because it's a relatively notable artist. I'm more interested either just to mint one at 0.02 and hold it because I do like Killer Bears in general.
Anyone can, right? It could as an open edition.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Or to possibly mint and see what happens with the floor, because sometimes there is opportunities to flip initially. Other times, after a couple of days, they start popping. But look, you got to be careful. It's all speculation. So yeah, going to be interesting to see what happens there. But I agree with Kate. You know, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I do think this is going to die down. Like we saw, even the free mint meta that took
Yeah.
off and has come and gone. I mean, it's yeah,
There's been like
definitely
25
interesting.
minutes every few months. Also, I was trying to find this thing. So is it on Killer Bear's official Twitter? Like, where would I find that information?
Yeah. Yeah, so if you're on Killer Bear's official Twitter, just I think there's a Medium article there. If you scroll down a little, it's even pinned, I think.
Oh,
Close to the top there. Has it got the blue check mark? Killer Bears.
it's
Let me do it for everyone quickly.
yeah. Actually,
Killer
could you
Bears
show us?
should be paying me for this.
They fucking should, dude. Well, if listen, if for people who are watching, if we make a W on this, you heard it here first. This is the alpha.
100%, man. That's what we're here to do. All right, so let's have a look. I'm just on my Twitter here, as you guys can see. Okay, so we'll open this. So here it is, Killer Bears.
Killer Bear's NFT is their handle.
At Killer Bears NFT, yeah. So the thing I'm saying is make sure it's got the blue tick, make sure it's at Killer Bears NFT, KILLA. And if you look here, pin to the top here, memo.killerbears.com, you click on that, and it takes you to a countdown page, shows you 1 hour, 20 minutes,
Holy shit.
0.02 ETH, a journey through the past, present, and future of Killer Bears. Memo Angelus presents, that's the artist, The Killer Chronicles OE, Volume 1, The Hunt. Step into the mint of Killer Bears artist Memo Angelus, hope I'm pronouncing that properly, as he leads you on a journey through the past, present, and future of Killer Bears in our first ever open edition mint. But be warned, the road ahead is fraught with twists and turns. Tread wisely, for every choice you will make will impact your fate and determine your destiny within the Killerverse. Your killer adventure awaits. Will you answer the call? So, this is quite interesting for me because, opposed to just some unknown artist dropping something, this is an existing NFT project, Killer Bears. And they're hinting that there will be some utility for these NFTs within their existing ecosystem, which is already, quite good. I want to just go to them on OpenSea to show you. I mean, their OG collection is sitting over 3 ETH. They've been around for long enough. They've come across Kate and my radar on the show once or twice. We've spoken about them. So they definitely, proven that they're building long term. So here's their collection, 3,333 NFTs. This is their OG normal collection, not this open edition that's coming. You can see here floor price currently 3.69 Ethereum. And if we just go to activity, I just want to see for all time to see when they launched. They launched the 11th of April last year, so almost a year. And look, I mean, there's consistent volume going on here.
Yep.
And to be able to hold a 3+ ETH floor in this current market is incredibly impressive. It really, really is. Really, I mean, there's very few collections that have been able to do that. Even we saw the OG amazing NFT collections like Cool Cats and World of Woman and Subducks and the ones that everyone used to talk about. All of those are under 3.5 Ethereum. So this is the artist who did Killer Bears. He's dropping this open edition. So going to be interesting. But just remember, you can mint as many as you want. And there's an unlimited supply. So that could pretty easily, like let's just say the floor price opens at 0.1. Everyone's going to mint 10, and then everyone's going to try list it under, and before you know it, it's under mint price.
Yeah.
So it's not as simple as what you're thinking, and it might recover because then people stop minting, and then slowly it comes above mint price and whatever. So it's going to be interesting to watch, but don't go too crazy on it, and definitely always do your own research and just be careful with it,
Dude, I'm kind of excited for this, not gonna lie. So anyone can mint this thing. It's just a little open edition. We're just gonna mint this thing for like no money and then just sit there and see if anything happens.
Well, it's not no money. It's 0.02 Ethereum.
Right. Epic.
So that is some money. And that's
I
so
hope
funny. We just had a whole we just had a whole discussion about how open editions are just you just told
Fucking
everyone to
go,
stay
baby.
far
Open
away.
edition for the win.
And here you've just told each and every one of us, yeah, like you are so excited for this open edition.
Bro, open editions are easily the best thing that's ever happened to NFTs. Without a doubt, the best thing that's ever happened to NFTs. Everyone should be making an NFT. Open edition, Joy's Kingdom NFT, minting now. Also, I just heard a bunch of people